The game you're about to see here is extremely special. One of the best games that I've ever seen on Nomad and maybe on any map ever. And so if you made it here via the title, the recommendations on YouTube, maybe you hit that bell on YouTube. I have no clue how you got here. I hope you feel privileged, okay? Not my best intro. It'll get better. It's a 1v1 Nomad game here. And on Nomad, as most of you know, you don't start with a TC, right? So you've got MBL, a pro player who's accomplished so much throughout his career, and he's in the north. And he's placing his TC with 2 villagers here as the Spanish. And over here, his 3rd villager he started with built dock. And we have a similar thing for his opponent. And his opponent in the blue, excuse me, is named Morg. Morg is a player who's been around a very long time. I remember him playing back in 2015, 2016 as well. Morg is playing as the Bohemians here in the blue. And he is building his TC towards the south. So they're starting pretty far from each other. And then has his dock villager over here on the right. So, as they get started here, I want to talk about Morg a little bit because I feel as though you guys maybe don't fully understand the situation with Morg. I feel it sets up this game quite nicely. So, Morg, he likes to play a lot of closed maps typically, right? Likes a lot of arena and whatnot. And that is not extremely uncommon. There are many players at a high level who do prefer their closed maps. That is what makes them solid. That is their comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with that. Morg, as well, likes to force pick Civ a lot, and that's where it gets a little bit dicey. Players on the open map and closed map, queue, it's not a separate queue, but, people, regardless of their map preferences, when you've played thousands and thousands of games, you usually like a bit of variety, right? Morg, he does play with a lot of civs, but if you can see from some of the data here, he has played with these civilizations far more than any other. Close to 2,000 games with the Spanish, close to 2,000 with the Turks, Bohemians, Portuguese, Mongols, and it's almost always when those civs are picked, it is like pretty much the best civilization on that map, right? Now, not only is that the case with Morg, but he also is kind of leading in the Dodger category. Now, this is not something I talk about too much. Basically, what this means, there's a website that tracks this stuff for 2K plus players, is if a map is selected via the rank system, right? You ban things, and then you also favorite things, and whatever is remaining, you get. Dodgers Alt F4, right? So you Alt F4. It is very common for an individual to, for this individual, and there are others, to Alt F4. So hundreds and hundreds of times. And what this means is basically we have a bit of a reputation here, right? Player will always play the same strategy all the time. If the situation is not good for this individual, he will simply not play it. And that can be really annoying if you're on the other side of things, because you're like, come on, I don't want to play this civilization against you with the civilization for the 1,000th time. And I also don't want to be in queue for 5 minutes and not get a game. Combine that with the fact that Morg does trash talk a bit. Now, he's had crazier days in the past. These days, I don't see anything insanely toxic, but it just makes for a very interesting setup, right? And so MBL would have known Morg, and MBL reacted in a way where he was not too pleased when he saw that it was Nomad, which MBL doesn't really like to play, and saw that it was a force pick situation from his opponent, right? Now, what MBL did not have the pleasure of doing is playing against Morg a dozen times where Morg plays the Bohemians. Guess who did? Me. That's right. And I don't Alt F4. Okay. And, I've won some and I've lost some. And listen, all the things we're going to say about this player in the blue as MBL brings in his boar. Listen, here's the reality. He's really good, right? And when you play with the civilization thousands and thousands of times, when you only play games that are in your comfort zone, you get good at it, right? And he's an example of it. It does pain me to say that a little bit. Morg's probably going to watch this, and he and I kind of troll each other a little bit back and forth. But yeah, that's just the reality. So that's kind of the intro, and I wanted to explain that because I feel like that perspective, MBL, oh man, I'm against this guy. That feeling, oh god, okay, force pick, what? Oh man, the Dodger, that feeling is, I think, important to the story here. So, what exactly do we expect from Morg? So, I don't know if MBL was expecting this particular thing, but MBL is going to be up against some aggression here. His aggression's fantastic, and Nomad is one of the best maps for castle drop aggression, I would say. A big reason for that, I've explained it many times. I think the first reason is you have a fish boom. So, if you're fishing, you're going to be in a position to have a little bit of extra food. But then there's lots of boars and things as well. Now, I got to point this out. Morg started to send a villager fishing ship this way, and also a fishing ship this way. He didn't know where MBL's dock was, and he also sent a villager this direction and just encountered MBL's dock. Now, that's important because MBL is Spanish, and when you're thinking of the Spanish, very frequently you're thinking of the conquistadors. Strong gunpowder unit that costs food, right? MBL, extremely unfortunate here. I want to pause and just show you this situation, okay? MBL is directly next to a gold. He does not know where the gold is because he missed scouting it. There's also a cow, which would help him. He still, at this point of the game, has scouted a lot, has no idea where gold is. He's going to bring in another boar. But yeah, Morg is on the way up. Like I said, by the way, on Morg's whole personality, we're going to skip past it a little bit after this. His name at the bottom right is his account name at the time. And as MBL finally finds some gold here, he's making fun of another player. He's just, he's just different than some of the pros, some of the high-level players we have in the scene. He doesn't play a lot of tournaments, or any tournaments these days, Morg, but he's been terrorizing the ladder, particularly the last 2 weeks. He's gotten really good with his bohemian stuff. So MBL wanders over here to find gold. He is not yet clicked up. Good from him to be resourceful there. Also brought in some boars. Lots of high-level stuff here. Morg has a really interesting build here, okay? You see, a lot of people can have a fast castle into a castle drop build down. But if you just do that, you give a player like MBL lots of opportunities. So over on this side, Morg's got fishing ships, and that's his eco. And over here, his plan is to snipe MBL's fish. Now, from MBL's perspective, he did know that Morg was here because he spotted the houses. So his double dock here is to go kill those fish. So that's MBL's plan. But the galleys have already found MBL's fish over here. And we're going to see a similar situation for both players where both players are going to need to relocate their fish. The difference, though, and this is where I'm really impressed with the build from Morgan, how he chooses to play this, is because like every little bit of aggression that we're going to see from Morg for a while here, it sets up the next level. And that's like, that's where it can get really intricate and really complicated, right? Because these galleys are meant to just stop MBL from having the fish boom and all that food income from that. And he's killed 2 of them already. He hasn't actually produced any more navy after this. So simply just 2 galleys to chase down the fish. MBL going for the more consistent approach, and he's producing fires. He's going to try and kill the fish here. But MBL still has more ships in queue. He's got 3 more ships in queue behind that, producing out of every single dock. And, planning to stay in feudal age a little bit longer. Now, behind all this, Morg noticed, remember, when he walked away from this dock earlier, he noticed that MBL might be around here. But behind all this, the market and the blacksmith is up, and Morg is already up to castle age, and there's already villagers on stone. Now, you might be thinking, like, why Bohemians, right? Of all the civilizations to pick, I think we're going to see a lot of reasons why. It's going to become very clear to you. MBL lost all of his fishing ships to the galleys, by the way. I may have looked away during that, sorry. Morg's fishing ships are not long for this world either. But, Bohemians have fantastic monks. They have a great unique unit in the Hussite wagon, but they're also really good at going fast castle because the blacksmith is super cheap, so you don't need as much wood for that. And then also, if you use the market, you have a lot more stone and gold income with this civ because the mining upgrades are free. So being in feudal now, the stone mining and gold mining upgrade is free. And then in castle, it's going to be the castle age upgrades are free as well. Combine that with some of the other things we'll talk about. It's pretty good. And I mean, look at the resources collected right now. Usually if someone's cutting some corners, usually if someone has clicked up faster to the next stage, they don't have as much eco, right? And that's the case at the top. Mainly because Morg isn't producing vills because he's going to Castle Age. And so anyways, it's pretty crazy how Morg has 500 more resources collected despite all that. Really nice build. Meanwhile, for MBL, he has pretty much realized my opponent's not fighting me back on water. Morg's still trying. You do have a random demo coming in here, hoping to kill some fish. But I think, you know, this is just another sign for MBL that his opponent is simply just trying to kill his fish, and he's not actually going to make Navy here. So, Morg, thinking about pushing across the map as he likes to do, drops a castle here. Had no clue that MBL was actually taking gold here. Remember MBL's situation. He didn't know where that other gold was. He sees the castle foundation coming up already. And he's going to run away. Now, he did find this gold in the meantime. So he's on that. He's also on stone. But he doesn't have enough stone for a castle. And he's going to have to be extremely creative. Build an outpost in the middle. And MBL is going to run this direction. Just spotted a little bit of gold here. And Morg does not have vision on that. Now, the Hussite wagon, it's not the first time that I've featured this wagon in videos before. It's a really awkward unit for the opponent to deal with. Let me put it that way. And it's great at that. But I mean, it's got 10 attack. It's 160 HP. It's got tons of Pierce Armor, so it's really good against range units. The counters you really think of when you think of a counter to the Hussite wagon, only available in Castle Age, usually not out of like a stable or an archer range. And it's going to be Siege Workshop or Monastery. So making Siege is like a Mangonel is what I would suggest against this. We haven't seen a lot of this in my uploads recently, but if you remember the early Phosphorus strategies, I talked about how I still feel like they'd still do so much damage against Siege. Even Siege isn't necessarily the best of counters. But, I mean, Morg is just rolling out across here to do what damage he can, and he's kind of got MBL surrounded. MBL still no army. Now, I'm going to pause real quick, and I'm just going to say, if you want to have fun with this, think of how many situations that in this game that you see would have forced you to tap out and resign. I think there's a lot of people who would already be saying, yep, I'm out of here, when they're surrounded by the wagons. I wouldn't have tapped out just yet. I'll be honest on my feelings on it too, but MBL's in a rough position. He can't take the gold. He could barely take the wood around here, and he scrambles up a Siege Workshop to make a Mangonel. Now, Morg behind this. Remember, he's got no fish, so he mixes in 2 farms for some food eco. That's the bulk of his food eco. But he already dropped the Monastery. Now, he knows the Civ well. Fervor increases the monk speed, but also villager speed with this Civ, so it's a good economic upgrade. And so that's something that is good to snag here. And I said that the wagon is a good setup unit because you get ahead, you get initiative, right? You force them into siege, and then you go into monks to convert their siege. You just have so much gold income. It could be a really good way to play it. And of course, he's got like 15 on gold right now. Go back to MBL's perspective. He's pushing away the wagons. He did sneak over here to build the TC. Now Morg, sorry, I have so much to say, I'm getting distracted. Basically what happens here, Morg, he realizes that a Mangonel is going to pop out. And so he knows he needs to move away. And he's looking around, and over here, there were buildings before. Right? He's got no indicators, nothing, no reason to look over here. That's important for MBL. But yeah, he essentially decides, let's look over here, and I'm just going to play it from here. When you see an outpost like that, you follow, right? It's like, okay, the villagers didn't come towards my castle. They didn't come towards the rest of my army. Yep, another outpost. He's like, wait a second. He must have been looking for resources, which is precisely the situation for MBL, and MBL just completes this TC. Now, MBL has 3 fishing ships behind this, and I believe we may have even missed 1 or 2 getting sniped randomly by Morg with another demo, because the Eco KD is not completely adding up. He sees the TC now. He knows about this, and he's just hoping to completely surround MBL. Now, I've described MBL as the wagon goes down there. as the cockroach of AoE, which is like one of the worst compliments someone could ever receive. But the explanation behind that is because you just can't kill him, right? He always comes back. It feels like you can't get rid of the guy. And he is really the perfect player to go up against this here, because this, again, there were just going to be so many moments where it feels like there was no way out for him here. Right now, has the villager lead. He has the eco lead, but look at the resources collected. I mean, still over 1,000 behind. And redemption is already in here now for blue. So you can convert buildings, you can convert siege here. It's not realistic for MBL to have the resources to make a barracks, then make a stable, then make light cav, and even still the wagons could kill the light cav pretty quickly. So he's a pretty... He's far removed from being able to deal with the monks unless he gets atonement to allow him to convert his own monks. Now over here we have Morg running in, microing away. Here he just converts MBL's market. Honestly horrible. Look at how much MBL uses market. That is that is actually really annoying for him. But now the monk can't convert any siege right now. And remember, the way I described this is like each step of the aggression sets up the next. We had the galleys to set up the castle and unique unit. The unique unit to set up the monk play. And just as maybe MBL's getting set to deal with this, right? He's got the mangonels and he's got the monks. We have the next step. Again, it is really well timed. It's pretty crazy. Small thing here. Those houses are going down. That could be a problem. So here's MBL's point of view. And now he knows, oh crap, my opponent has redemption, which I guess he knew before. But now his mangonel gets converted. So now he can't stop the wagons. He's just now researching redemption himself so we can convert the wagons. And this castle goes up. MBL is on 3 TCs. However, this castle ranges 2 of them. And he's going to have to evacuate here. Now here goes... MBL trying to convert these things, and he does get a conversion on one of them, but he loses 2 monks in the process. Does end up killing a monk, though. And the wagons, funnily enough, like, don't take a lot of damage from other wagons, which is kind of funny. And yeah, I mean, that's worth it, I'd say. At least trades evenly, but, like, it's evacuation time. People, it's evacuation time. Now, again, would you resign here? I think I call the GG right here. The monasteries are right next to the castle, so it's very possible that you're just losing monks as you produce. Both these TCs will slowly go down. There's more pressure over here, and wouldn't you know it, monks on both sides, and there's also Hussite wagons on both sides, completely surrounding MBL. And also, there's now a Hussite wagon over here, because obviously MBL had to run somewhere. Mangonel got converted from underneath the TC. I know, it's crazy. And it's only a 13 to 13 eco KD. But advantage Morg, guys, because he is just simply everywhere. Kills another monk, does lose a wagon. He's going to try his best to convert it back. And he does get the conversion again, and MBL's just building new TCs. I mean, this is rough. This is rough, man. And now there's another castle coming. So again, it's like, to take you back, kind of my intro, right? Because you guys probably aren't going to encounter more. Maybe there's other players that are similar to him. Imagine facing up against this every single day, multiple times, the same civ. And then if it's a map the guy doesn't like, he'll F4s. It's not fun. This is like, gaming is supposed to be fun. It's not fun to be on the other side of this. So let's pause, because this is a beautiful game, a beautiful moment, and a game we'll probably never see again quite like this, okay? So MBL has these 2 TCs castled, so he's going to lose those 2. Okay, so 2 TCs castled. 3 TCs, 4 TCs castled now because of this castle. Okay, we continue on. Oh, and by the way, Morg is using the market to click up to the Imperial Age as well. He's very close to clicking up to Imp, where, of course, these castles can produce trebs, and then the monks can get additional range. Like, every single play is set up to go to the next. Mining stone over here with these villas, and yes, there goes Morg. Still just 1 town center, clicks up to the Imperial Age. And MBL is just sitting here wondering what on earth he's going to do. Like, he has run away here with these villagers. And this is where we really have to pay attention to MBL's expansion and his sneakiness, right? A mill over here on the berries and a lumber camp on wood. Adding some fishing ships again. Let's see what we got. Anything else? Okay, here he's back on gold. Here he's trying to make a move for this stone. Ends up converting the monk. That's a good moment for MBL, but then he sees the wagons and the vills. Morg doesn't have the economy of MBL, but his villagers, his eco has certainly been more efficient. He's still collected more. And now we have another castle. So that is TC number 5 from MBL in this game. 5 that has had a castle on it. This is before we get to trebuchets. Obviously, the TC still produce vills, but doesn't really have the food eco for it. Over here, monks are going after monks. Monks just switching sides. And this wagon just rolling around as MBL is hoping to kill off what he can. Like, he just wants a little bit of safety. And he now builds, I don't know, TC number 6. So this one doesn't have a castle on it. That's nice. Okay. Pretty wild stuff. MBL nowhere near the Imperial Age. Morg has 7 monks with 5 more in queue, and he's got wagons. And he's kind of looking everywhere. MBL's found some berries, found some stone. The dock was starting to get converted there. That's a good delete from MBL, because if the opponent gets the dock, he can make ships again. Kill the fish. I would be so out of there, man. Like everywhere you look, there's blue killing red, it feels like. MBL does convert a wagon here. MBL uses the vills to batter back that wagon, and maybe it gets a little bit of safety here for the time being. MBL taking a boar here. Why not? So he's staying alive, right? He's staying alive. He's kind of everywhere. And everything can be ranged by trebs and, you know, military, but not out of the game. It's not pretty, that's for sure. The whole idea to try and use monks against monks, and monks against anything for that matter, gets way worse right now, though, guys, because the monks for the enemy can have 12 range. So that changes things massively. Treb from Morg over here. Are you guys dizzy? Do you not really know where to focus? Same here. Okay. But I think it's becoming clear right now to Morg where MBL has the economy set up. I mean, this is just truly something else. Like, I'm just looking at it from Blue's point of view. Blue has scouted the entire map and knows about everything. There's no surprises. There's going to be a Treb here for all of this stuff. There's going to be a Treb here for all of this stuff, and that's like 20 villagers. Let's continue. So the whole monk converting monk situation should be considerably easier for Blue now. And MBL has no real way to kill Trebs. But again, would you resign here? I would. If I had to run away with 20 more vills, MBL just says, you know what? I've got to be stubborn here. I'm going to just run away with these vills, hope they live. I got to find a way to escape. Meanwhile, we have a castle from Blue. Morg trying to castle drop MBL again, but MBL actually got enough stone to build his own castles. And he's Spanish, so he does build faster. He is going to complete this castle. And Morg needs to abandon that. Otherwise, he'll lose all the vills. Let's see over here. This Treb has taken out the TC and will take out the monastery and then the lumber camp. Over here, this TC is going to go down. Here, Morg is converting a ship. MBL has deleted some of his own walls to run over here somewhere and try and survive. And now, like, naturally, Morg, he took down this TC. He doesn't see any of this, right? So he doesn't see any of that. But now it's like he's got MBL exactly where he wants him. And it's time to finish off MBL now and take out this castle with the Trebs. And that's really like, that's going to be the tough thing for MBL. This is the most important area of your eco right now. How do you survive? Well, he might not have the range, but he's really good with monk control. So he converts a wagon. Wagon gets converted back. He is going to try and convert the Treb here. Now, this is crazy. MBL's in Castle Age. Morg actually deleted the Treb. I remember checking to see if Morg had heresy there, which would mean that the units just immediately die. He didn't have it. So that was actually really smart from him Because if he gives MBL a Treb and MBL is still in Castle Age, like, that's huge if MBL could escape with that thing. Anyways, like, this TC's up, right? MBL's Vills still haven't died. Okay. He only has 2 TCs remaining. He's got this TC, which is about to be Treb down, and then he's got that TC we just showed you. And he's trying to hold on here desperately. With whatever food income he has, he's got a lot more villagers. And, you know, converts a wagon. Like, have a bonus against monks. And I think, like, actually, I can guarantee you that Morg thought the game was over 5 minutes ago and never expected this pushback out of nowhere. MBL's conks are killing off the monks. The Lycav are pretty decent. The vills that were over here are just waltzing across the middle of the map. Morg's got castles in so many different spots that he can't keep his head straight on where the trebs need to be. So this Treb was kind of coming forward, and that's got to go back. To some good moments for MBL. Some really good moments for MBL. I don't know how. And this castle, this trebuchet here, still going after the castle. Can we just talk about this again? This is MBL's eco. He used to have everything else. This is like home now. Without a town center. This is just crazy. Now, again, I guess there's eco over here. There's also the fishing ships. But, like, yeah. So what you need now if you're blue, you need to recenter yourself and you need to chill for a moment, right? Like, these castles have done their job in the north. You don't want to toss away trebs needlessly. Right here, this trebuchet needs to be packed up. Monks just convert each other there. But conquistadors are dangerous, Lycav are dangerous, and castles are really the key. Like, you need castles as your protection for all your trebs at this point. He's about to build castle number 6. MBL's only had 1. And this is like, this is perfect from Morg, or at least near perfect, because, again, there's no way for MBL to push back the castle. So you can kind of see what MBL is aiming for. But as of yet, MBL can't deal with this trebuchet and will eventually lose his castle. MBL over here will sit the conks just in the perfect position out of range of the castle fire. So getting some snipes here. And he's going to build another TC. The guy somehow is going to be on 2 TCs after losing like 8 of them. But he's killed 24 eco and only lost 11. Crazy, crazy stuff. MBL going to farm in the middle of the map because that is the safest area for him, apparently. But again, the Hussite wagons are a problem. And, like, Hussite wagons are actually, I think they win the fight against conks. So MBL loses his castle. Again, he has more vills. Resources collected's actually even. Can we look at this real quick? Let's just appreciate the difference here. MBL's had wood and food eco, which obviously takes a lot of time and planning. And Morg has just been tossing villagers on golden stone this whole time. And he's been spending it, right? He's been spending it wonderfully. Just 2 completely different approaches. MBL is going to get bloodlines for his Lycav. That also applies to the conks. And I think, again, Morg, having played this situation dozens of times this week, he's probably like, okay, finally, we got him where we want him. Because things are awfully quiet. Now, there are some vills here. This would be a nice area to snipe. Morg didn't know about that, but they're chopping a little bit too much there, so. MBL's going to try and mass up as much as he can. That monk gets converted, though, and it's just full Hussite wagon right now from Ezio. Now, the thing about this unit is, it's really good against ranged attack. It's pretty good against melee attack as well, but its weakness, if there were one, would be against siege or melee. You need wood and gold to produce this, which blue has plenty of. See the wagons kind of pulled back there. A little worried and giving some respect to the Lycav from MBL as he's going to have full Castle Age armor. Still has some monks. Here, his villagers have been spotted, guys. Here, MBL, remember, he had this little economy blossoming. He is going to drop a castle on the only town center for Morg. And Morg, I think he had a rally point for his monastery here from earlier. I don't know. But again, like, from his perspective, he's still just killing MBL vills and finding, like, pretty much everywhere MBL is. And MBL just runs away. Just runs away, and he's going to save what he can. Now, MBL's castle here immediately gets spotted. This is pretty close by to all the action, so Morg is going to relax, bring his trebs over, and go to focus this down. But MBL's trying to spread out here. Will produce light cav from here. Don't ask me how he has 40 on food. It's all split up into different groups all around the map. Actually, the 40 on food's an interesting one. Can we do a mill count? MBL has built 6 mills in this game. I'm pretty sure it's been on berries every time. He's got like a lot of his food income on berries and deer and whatnot. So it's not like he's just got farmers. Anyways, we should just continue. But he's somehow staying alive. Now he's still in the castle age. He can't push back these castles. There's 6 of them. And there's still stone being mined by Morg. Over here, just not the biggest group of Hussite wagons. So MBL's been able to find an engagement there. But he loses his castles, and now his villagers are exposed here. Here comes MBL now to attack. I mean, he figures, might as well. I can't avoid castle fire. Might as well do something. As Morg needs a new TC, but all the light cav go down. Would really like to see the fletching upgrade from Morg, but Morg doesn't really have food. So he's just been buying food at this point. So yeah, MBL's been spotted over here. And seeing as these villagers built a castle, Morg's probably like, I just got to deal with this. This is a problem. And so, yeah, Trebs are going to deal with that, no problem. MBL's light cav kind of looping around trying to help. Again, still very much deep in the castle age here. Couple villagers just go over here to stone to get a little bit more stone. That's important. It's full adaptation. Full adaptation mode from MBL and pretty much from Morg at this point. And what is going to change this game? MBL's light cav coming over. Morg possibly a little distracted because there's so many different areas where things need to be focused on. And the light cav find the Treb snipe. Said this is pretty nice engagement for MBL. You know, I wasn't certain how the fight would go against these Hussite wagons because light cav only have 80 HP. They're doing a pretty good job. Considering it's only food, that is a really good fight for MBL. And again, I got to bring it back to the importance of castle fire. This is crazy. Another mill for MBL. Mill number 7 for the deer and the shorefish, I guess. And yeah, Hussite wagon number lower than it was before. But the castles will contribute. These 3 castles have 17 kills. And Morg is also... He was thinking about trying to drop a castle here, which I guess MBL noticed. This is insane. But you know... If you're watching this, you're probably realizing that everything from Morg is kind of coming from this area now. And MBL's starting to show some resistance. Again, it's not really the prettiest time for the economy, but I mean, he's around. These vills come back to some farms. Over here, he's adding some farms. He still has some fish around. You know, like he's squeezed up against the edge of the map. But he's still out there. He's still doing what he can. And so when you start to sense this in Morg's position, this is when you need the push to continue. This is when you need that next step. You can try and stabilize economically if you want to. And he's got 2 TCs producing vills. But it feels like that's going to be a tough task. I don't know how it's a tough task, but I feel like it is going to be a tough task. Hello, random villager just walking across the map. We'll see if that guy makes it. MBL picks off Hussite wagons. It's like anytime there's anything that's not next to a castle, MBL's going for it. Here he's looping around. There goes the Vill, by the way. He probably just selected all of his idols and sent them over here. MBL dropped the tower because there were a couple fires that came over to kill fish. Let's pause. Seriously, I'm sorry for the pauses, but this game is so ridiculous, we just need to pause. Okay. So MBL kind of has eco here. And he built these TCs a while ago. Yeah, I mean, he's got solid enough eco here somehow. He's got a little bit of eco here. He's losing his eco here. The bulk of his eco is still on this very right side. But he is surrounded by castles. And this hill, guys, this area is key. And Morg has enough stone to build a castle. Now, what Morg lacks really is army. But Morg is starting to add spears because the light cav have become a threat. Morg... it's kind of hard for him to realize how much economy MBL has over here, funnily enough. This he notices, and he knows the job is all about this hill. That's how this game changes, guys, is this hill right here. MBL's resources are actually starting to look decent enough where he might be able to consider the Imperial Age. And just as I say it, he does click up to the Imperial Age. And Morg waiting for the pikeman upgrade, and the Treb gets sniped. Treb gets sniped. That's a nice job there from MBL. Bohemian pikes do additional bonus damage, though, right? So this is now becoming like a combo attack, which MBL's not really in a position to deal with. Before he had Conquistadors, he still has 3 somewhere. They're down here. But he can't make conks because he doesn't have a castle, right? So he doesn't really have an easy answer to pikes. And in a game like this, guys, sometimes you just need one unit. You spam bills, you spam the unit, you move around. Like, that's pretty much what MBL's going for. He is on stone here. And anytime Morg tries to send units across, it seems to get picked off. This Treb is not advanced, but where can it go at this point? MBL's got this area locked down. So, important moment over here then, as Morg tries to build this castle. Crazy stuff. MBL knows if this castle goes up, he has problems. And so he's going to bring the bills. He's going to bring the cows. He quickly buys what he can because he's going to lose the fight. And he's just hoping and praying that Spanish builders will build fast enough. This is a problem. It's pikes and Hussite wagons and the hill bonus. MBL's castle goes up, but Morg's castle will go up as well. Just needs to get to a Treb. Meanwhile, MBL's just going to have a farming economy down here. It's crazy. Now, Morg doesn't really have a lot of gold anymore. This is actually where he's taking gold. It's just these 5 villagers, so he can't actually produce many more monks or many more Trebs. He does convert some farmers over here. But, you know, MBL's an imp. Now, you could go, like, you could try and you could go for, like, the light cav upgrade, and maybe that works here because the economy is greater. But we are going to see a technology that we so rarely see. It's a tech that, honestly, at least when I think of pro players, I would really only associate with MBL here in the red. And MBL goes for Supremacy. Because he has 105 vills, he has more villagers than anything else, he decides villagers are key. Supremacy buffs the stats of the villagers, and then he would need sappers where villagers do more damage against, I believe it's buildings and siege now. It didn't always used to help against siege. And he's got the vills. They're all around his opponent. He gets the tech. Sappers is in the queue. And the villagers have had enough of this. Their friends have been converted. They've been moving around. They've been playing Nomad for the last freaking hour, man. They're sick of it. And just as, you know, the pikeman count's starting to get crazy, we're going to have another Treb on the way. And this position can get pushed. And maybe there's a chance for Morg. The villagers make their move, guys. I don't think MBL actually got sappers. I think he canceled it accidentally because he wanted to go for petards. But look how fast the castle's going down. It lost 1,500 HP. The castle would go down. Over here, MBL was sending the vills that are now ripped. They are shredded after this Treb and ultimately after this castle. The villagers here went for this castle. Can we just go back? Let's just go back here for a moment. Right? And let's just appreciate the movement of everybody, right? He's going to make it to Imp. And then he truly commits in 3 different spots with the economy. This was honestly the fastest way to deal with the castles. It's not troll. It's just one of the rare instances where Supremacy saves the day. Sorry, I can't rewind for the life of me. I suck with the timings here. But look. So he gets Supremacy. 34 vills this way. Actually, maybe he ends up sending... He clearly grabs some and sends it this way, right? Going to send a couple of vills that way. And then he's got 25 vills this way. And yeah, this castle will absolutely go down. There's not enough support. The Treb will actually hop out and be exposed. The Treb over here goes down. The castle here will go down. And then there's still the light cav, which MBL's actually healing up in the middle of the map and got upgrades for. And, I mean, there weren't like pretty much any pikeman whatsoever for Morg at this point. Morg is just dead. How many times during that game would you have resigned, guys? MBL had 7 of his town centers castled. His opponent had so much army throughout that game. 60 wagons, 50 monks, and then funnily enough, 8 pikemen. That was just insane. Like, the level of resilience is unbelievable for simply a ranked game. MBL, like, very frequently, as weird as it sounds, if he gets an opponent who's if he's like in queue for too long, he sometimes thinks it's because his rating's too high. So he'll occasionally just like get into a game and he'll say, sorry, resign. That way he loses like 20, 30 elo. And that way he can get a game faster. He does not care about his elo. And he cared so much about this game. I just double checked the mills. He had 7 mills. That even feels low. I feel like he lost some. Eco here and houses. Eco here and a stable and a mining camp. TC, farms. Market, dock. Used to have TCs here. TCs, lumber camps, mining camps, everything was here. MBL had eco here. MBL had eco here. MBL had eco here. MBL had eco everywhere. And honestly, Morg had a really good game. I think like the main thing for him was that early push with the trebs right in this area. I don't know exactly what time it was, but I think he thought he had the game at that point. And MBL actually held on really well with the light cab and the conquistadors. And then it definitely felt like MBL was actually raiding him somehow. And, you know, castle dropping him in some instances. And it kind of changed the game. I mean, the KD doesn't tell the whole story. Obviously, Morg was leading there. There's also the conversions, right? There's also, like, buildings destroyed. MBL lost 55 buildings in that game. And sure, that might have been some small things like houses or mining camps and lumber camps, but still, that was just full-on adaptation mode. I really don't understand. I'm going to edit a heat map at the end of this. Hardy's going to put that up. Just a heat map of the mini-map. And you can just see blue was pushing red. Red was relocating. The movement of MBL was just a sign of how horrible this situation really was for him this game. But it was a beautiful game. It was amazing resilience. He lost 81 eco that game. Let's not forget. 81 economy, was castle dropped everywhere, and still got the job done. So, I mean, credit to both players. I introed with the story behind our blue player Morg, because I think it adds a little bit more to it. You understand just how much of a character he is. It was a ridiculous game. And like kind of the funny thing, since we talked about player personality in this, one of the things that is just so freaking hilarious to me and mind-blowing to me is when this game ends, MBL wasn't impressed at all. He instantly quit. He didn't look at the stats. He didn't look at the timeline. He just instantly queued up for another game and said, oh God, I hope I don't have to play Nomad against Morg again. That was it. He didn't like sit there and appreciate the fact that he just used Supremacy to batter down, or, you know, close to batter down castles. He didn't appreciate how crazy the game was. He just like got through it. It was like he got through a rough moment in his day and just moved on and wanted a real game after that. A true gamer, a true game. And thank you all for watching. You know, final thing here, if you enjoyed this, please like it. All right. I've been searching a bit more for games, and there's going to be some epic casts coming your way. It's motivating for me to see that. Second thing, though, I kind of struggled with how to classify this game because Morg had another game against somebody this week, which was unbelievable. These games have a habit of melting your brain. That may be the title of the next one. Just keep an eye out, right? If you enjoyed this, if you like the wacky craziness that this Nomad game brought, then please keep an eye out for that one. This whole week actually should just be fantastic. I mean, I do upload a video a day, but it's hard to find games like this. Anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Thank you, everybody, for the love, support. Hope you enjoyed the video. What a game. I'll see you next time.